The conversation ended hours ago. Maybe it was a lunch, a work meeting, quick exchange with someone you care about. Normal, unremarkable. Done. But now it's midnight. And you're lying there not sleeping, reconstructing it. The exact words you used, the pause that lasted a second too long, the thing you said that landed slightly differently than you intended. And the thing they said, that one sentence that you've now turned over so many times it no longer sounds like language, it sounds like evidence. Most people call this overthinking. They say it like it's a bad habit, something to stop, like biting your nails or checking your phone too much. But it's older than that. It's more intelligent than that. There's a specific kind of mind that doesn't leave conversations where it found them. It carries them home, runs them through something quietly, methodically searching for something it couldn't quite name in the moment. Not closure exactly, more like confirmation that things are okay, that you are okay, that the connection you felt in that room is still intact now that the room is empty. And the searching, that's the thing worth understanding, because it doesn't start in adulthood. It starts somewhere earlier, in a place where reading other people was necessary. For some, it was a household where the emotional temperature shifted unpredictably, where you had to watch faces carefully, interpret silences, understand what was unsaid more than what was spoken. Because getting that wrong, misreading the room, had consequences. For others, it was a social environment. The kind where belonging felt conditional, where one wrong word, one misread moment, could shift where you stood. And you learned, slowly, to review, to analyze, to prepare. What? The mental replay wasn't anxiety in the beginning. It was accuracy. It was you being very, very good at a skill that the environment demanded. Psychologists studying what's called rumination, repetitive, self-focused thought, have found something important. It isn't random. It tends to cluster around attachment uncertainty, around moments where connection felt ambiguous or at risk. Research by Susan Nallen-Hoeksema showed that ruminative thinking is strongly tied to the need to resolve emotional ambiguity, not weakness. Not neurosis, but an attempt to process what the present moment couldn't contain. In other words, you weren't spinning out. You were trying to finish something that felt unfinished. In adulthood, this plays out in very specific ways. You leave a conversation and immediately begin translating it. Did that come across right? Were they quieter than usual? Did I overshare? Did I undershare? Seem cold? Seem distant? Was there a moment where I lost them? And sometimes there's a particular phrase, something they said, that becomes a stone in your pocket. You carry it through the day. You turn it over at dinner. Bring it to bed. Here's the part most people get wrong about this. Everyone assumes the overthinking is about insecurity, low self-esteem, neediness, a lack of confidence. And sometimes, maybe, more often, it's actually about how much you care. The mind that replays conversations is almost always the mind that values connection deeply, that takes relationships seriously, that holds other people's experience of you as something worth attending to. That's not pathology, that's investment. The suffering isn't from caring too much. The suffering comes from the belief that caring this much means something is wrong with you. And if you have spent years reviewing conversations in the quiet dark, going back over exchanges like you're looking for the one sentence that proves you are still loved, still belonging, still welcome, then what you're actually doing is holding yourself responsible for something no human being can ever fully control. How another person experienced you in a single moment. On a regular Tuesday, you cannot audit your way to certainty in relationships. The review was never going to end in the conclusion you needed, because what you needed wasn't information, it was rest. The shift isn't about stopping the replay. It's about noticing when the replay is past the point of usefulness. There's a moment, and you'll begin to recognize it, where it stops being reflection and starts being punishment. Where you're no longer learning anything new. You're just hurting yourself with what you don't know. That moment is the place to pause. Not to analyze more. To simply say, I was there. I showed up. I was human. That is enough data. The conversation ended hours ago. At some point, you have to let it stay ended. Not because it didn't matter, because it did. And because you, the version of you that was present in that room, trying, imperfect, real, deserved to leave with it. If this resonated with something you recognize in yourself, there's more here worth exploring together. Take your time with it. And if you want to stay, you're welcome here.